We've got breaking news out of the world of boxing. Canelo Alvarez will square off against Terence Crawford for the unified super middleweight championship later this year in September. Alvarez, who has 62 wins and 39 knockouts to his name, will have one of the toughest matchups of his career against a 41-0 undefeated Bud Crawford. That fight is set to take place on Saturday, September 13th in the city of Las Vegas. And you see that tail of the tape, two men who are a little bit up there in age. Feels weird to say that because I'm 34 myself, but 34-year-old Alvarez against a 37-year-old Bud Crawford. The reach going the side of Bud, but the knockouts, more of them for Canelo in his career. This should be a very fun and exciting fight coming up in September in Vegas. And of course, it would not be a fight of this magnitude if we did not bring in our one and only Brian Campbell. And BC, we finally have this, the pen to paper. Now that we know we get Bud and we get Canelo, how excited is this matchup right here?
Look, this is a gift. This is a rare type of super fight involving big-name fighters from separate divisions with big-time history at stake. And even though the venue has not been formally announced, all of the whispers seem to point to Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, home, of course, of the Vegas Raiders. That will only escalate the big-time feel of this. Canelo Alvarez, still one of the pound-for-pound best in this game, still the undisputed super middleweight champion, still the biggest star in the sport, willing to put it all on the line against a smaller fighter searching for his own carve-out in history of greatness. We know Terence Crawford scored that huge breakthrough undisputed welterweight championship victory over Errol Spence since 2023. He did move up to 154 pounds to claim a title in the past couple years. But in theory, this is Bud Crawford moving up 3 weight divisions to take on such a huge challenge. Should Crawford win, not only could this catapult him very deep into the top 10 all-time from a pound-for-pound level, this would give him the opportunity in the modern era to become the first 4-belt undisputed champion in 3 different weight classes. He did that at 140. He did that at 147. Imagine if he does that at 168 pounds. This is the type of Manny Pacquiao, Sugar Ray Leonard type of daring to be great move. You have to give Crawford that respect. And when you put together the powers of Turkey Al-Sheikh in Saudi Arabia with Dana White, UFC, and the TKO, you can expect a grand event come September.
So then for Bud, when you look at that, when you have to go up and weight that much, is this enticing a money grab? Is this a legacy grab? Like, what chances do you give Bud when this is a big difference in weight for what he's used to?
I mean, it's an everything grab. It's certainly fueled by a desire to be great, to separate yourself historically from the rest. Is there big money involved in that? Of course there is. This is prize fighting. These are entertainers at the end of the day. But Bud Crawford has been about more than just becoming famous, making money. He's always been about the craft. He's always been about the accomplishment. Like I said, this could catapult him to levels of pound-for-pound historical greatness that we haven't seen in a while. We certainly saw that in Manny Pacquiao and Floyd Mayweather, and we're seeing that of late in Canelo Alvarez. But this has an opportunity to really be one of the special opportunities and performances. And even though you would naturally count out a fighter 3 weight divisions smaller, I think the slow performance in recent years from Canelo Alvarez, he's getting a little bit old with age. He's not seeking the toughest challenges. And in particular, his win in May over William School, which was the worst fight in the history of CompuBox tracking from the standpoint of least punches attempted by combined fighters and by Alvarez himself. I believe that performance has brought a lot of people back into the idea that if anyone is skilled enough to make this kind of leap and is tough enough to pull it off, it might be Bud Crawford. The odds are closer than I ever imagined it would be. You got to just tune in September and find out for yourself who gets the nod.
Yeah, BC, I'm not going to lie. You've got me excited for this fight and ready for September to be here. Like, I'd like to be in the building in Vegas to see it. Bud Crawford, of course, will see it. He'll be there ringside fighting, and he's chimed in on X, said this time has come. Canelo, you're in my way, and I'm not leaving Vegas without that win. See you September 13th at the Raida season card in Las Vegas, streaming live on Netflix. I know the world will be tapped in. They will be very excited for this one. On a scale of 1 to 10, where does this fight just land from the magnitude of importance of what we've seen in recent history? Because we've had a lot of and no shade, but the Jake Paul fights and things, but this is real.
I mean, to try to compare this historically with either a Mayweather-Pacquiao from 2015 or even Mayweather-McGregor 2 years later, just from the standpoint of buzz and must-see, it's not quite there, but it certainly is unique. It certainly brings together two first-ballot Hall of Famers and two all-time greats, and it has that question involved in it of what if? What if Bud Crawford can do this? What if he can avoid the big punches of Canelo? What if he can land big shots himself? Again, most people aren't cut out for this, to move up this high in weight, take this big of a chance. But if somebody can, I really mean it, it is Bud Crawford. Even with him getting up there in his late 30s, he's been putting out the best performances to date in recent years. No one can forget the way he walked through unbeaten future Hall of Famer Errol Spence back in 2023. I'd give this a high 9 out of 10 from importance matter, from the standpoint of the buzz that will be built. When you've got Dana White front and center promoting it, when you're putting it on Netflix, which doesn't involve a pay-per-view upcharge, you have an opportunity to inject life into this sport and really, for the winner, make them even greater than they already were. Like, it's hard to separate greatness when you're talking about two guys that have already accomplished so much. Maybe there's less at stake, certainly for Canelo being the bigger fighter. But for Bud Crawford, if he pulls this off in September, you're circling this on the timeline of modern boxing history as one of the biggest, most impressive singular victories, if he can get it, that we have ever seen. And I truly mean that. From Manny Pacquiao rising in weight 8 divisions to Sugar Ray Leonard coming out of retirement in 1987 to move up and fight Marvin Hagler at middleweight. We've seen some great dares, right, to turn out to be legendary. This is an even bigger one in that regard for Terence Crawford.
Yeah, I just asked that Netflix has their act together and we have no lagging. We can get a clean stream to be able to watch this fight. I'm curious, though, from the Canelo Alvarez side of things, because it makes sense why Bud Crawford wants to do this fight, but why is this something that Canelo would want?
Look, not to take you too deep in the weeds of the boxing business landscape, but for as great as Canelo is, he has been avoiding one major fight, and that's David Benavidez, the unbeaten former 2-time super middleweight champion, who was so sick of waiting on Canelo that he moved up to a new division in light heavyweight and took on a title. There's been a lot of pressure on Canelo to take on a dangerous matchup worthy of his name, of his experience level, of his everything. I think this is Canelo Alvarez realizing the fans really wanted this fight. They also really want the Benavidez fight. Can he please them by taking the fight against the smaller fighter? Obviously, this will be from big money. It'll be on Netflix. It'll be a grand event. For Alvarez, it's more about, how do I take a fight that will please the fans, that will continue to add another big name on my resume? But the pressure's on Canelo here. Let's be very fair. He's the bigger guy. He's supposed to win. I personally think he's taking this, so maybe people don't bring up the name Benavidez any longer. Either way, this is a real challenge on paper for him. He will have the size advantage. He will have the strength advantage. But Bud Crawford can move, even in his late 30s. And for a welterweight, he's got a backbone. He's going to go in there to fight. So the pressure is on Canelo Alvarez. Even though Terence Crawford has the unbeaten record that he's putting at stake, this is the opportunity to magnify his own legacy and his own resume and the way we remember him. The pressure is on Big Red from Mexico.
Yeah, BC, when that legacy word gets thrown out there, it just makes things so much more intriguing and interesting. You have 3 months to really be able to dissect this, but I want to know right now, who are you predicting to win this fight?
I mean, you cannot count out Terence Crawford. You just can't do it. But until I see it, I got to go with Canelo. He's still got it. He's still the bigger puncher. He's smart. He can counter. He can go to the body. He can do everything. Will Bud make this competitive either way? You better believe it. This is a real fight. I'm still taking the bigger, more skilled fighter until I see otherwise.
September 13th, all around the world, we will be locked into Netflix to watch Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. And if you weren't excited before, BC, I think he just got you very excited. Brian Campbell, thank you very much. And that tail of the tape again, and you see just the difference in size between the two of them, Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford going up 3 weight classes to get this fight done, putting up that undefeated record for a showdown in Vegas coming up in about 3 months. It will be spicy and fun.